Hey, how's it going guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're going to be doing this $1,200 gaming PC.
And this video is brought to you by Antec. We're going to be doing a bunch of PC builds with Antec again. Special thanks to them for sponsoring this series. And we're going to be checking out their new DF600 FLUX case, along with a bunch of their other cases which have emphasis on high airflow and good cooling. So before we get into that, let's talk about Antec a little bit more.
So the first thing I want to say is this case right here, $69.99, and it comes pre-configured with 4 fans, 3 of them being RGB, and it's a very high airflow case and also tempered side glass. Now you really can't beat that, especially with even a non-name brand case. This is the Antec that we're talking about, and you're able to get the tempered glass, the RGB fans, and the high airflow for $70.
And we're also going to be showcasing their power supply, their Neo Eco Gold 700 watt, along with the RGB fans that you can add to this if you really want to max it out. Again, the extra RGB fans aren't a part of the budget because we really think this is the ideal configuration, but because Antec wanted us to showcase the rest of the RGB stuff that they have, we'd be happy to load this thing up and see how bright we can make it. So yeah, special thanks again to Antec for sponsoring this build. How about we go ahead and talk about what parts are going inside this DF600 FLUX case.
So yes, what we have here is a 10th gen Core i7. This is actually the first i7 we've done in a while. So this is the i7-10700. So it is a 8-core 16-threaded processor. Intel is typically known for being a little bit better for gaming because of their strong cores. We're gonna see if that's true today, but we expect this to be on par with like a 3700X-ish, maybe a 3600. So we're gonna see just based on how well it does with the 2060 that we're gonna talk about in a second. So speaking of the graphics card, from MSI, we have the Ventus RTX 2060 Super. So we've done so many 2060 Super builds, but we have not really done anything with an i7 before, so it'll be fun to see how the 2060 Super works with the Blue Nation. And also for RAM, you know, this is weird. For a $1,200 budget, we have 32 gigs of RGB RAM. This is from T Group, and it's the T-Force Delta RGB. So it is 3200 megahertz, but we also did that because, well, Intel can't really handle like 3600 megahertz. So for 2 16 gig sticks and the price that we got it for, you really can't beat it. And we decided, hey, 32 gigs, maybe that's gonna be the norm soon. And then also from ASRock, we have the B460 Pro 4. This is a full-size motherboard that's going to look really nice in this build. So of course this isn't a Z490 or anything crazy like that, but it is a locked processor, so there's no reason to go with anything insane like that. This is gonna be more than enough for what we need.
And now for storage, we went with the WD Blue SN550, which is a 500 gigabyte M.2 NVMe SSD. 500 gigabytes is like minimum nowadays for any sort of PC build around this price point, or any PC build in general, especially if you're playing Warzone. But this is a very fast SSD that we've used many times, and if you do want to go with the 1 terabyte version for probably about $100-ish, you could do that. Be sure to check the links in the description down below. They are affiliate links, but this is a very reliable drive that we've used numerous times here on the channel. And as we mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is the Neo Eco Gold Zen power supply, 700 watts, 80 plus gold. This is a really nice unit from Antec that's gonna look really nice in the case that we mentioned as well. The DF600 FLUX, which is right here again with all its RGB glory. Very excited to build in this thing and see how this thing performs in terms of temperatures because the 10700 is known to be a little bit toasty. So we'll see how this system handles all the things that we're loading into it, along with all the RGB fans we're adding. Yeah, it's gonna be a really awesome Antec focused build. And how about we go ahead and start building it, shall we?
Start it up.
ladies and gentlemen, now that we have this PC all put together, let's talk about those benchmarks real quick. Now, we decided to test this PC in a couple of titles: Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. In Call of Duty Warzone, on a mixture of high-medium settings, we got over 100 FPS a majority of the time. Now, in this situation, you start to realize that the 2060 Super is the bottleneck in this PC. Is it a severe bottleneck? No, it's perfectly fine, but it does show that you could upgrade to a better GPU in the future with this i7-10700 and have really good results, which is not a bad thing. We like to optimize our builds for long-term support, so if you are building this system right now, expect really good results with the 2060 Super like you see in the benchmarks, but just know you could buy something like a 2080 Super used or whatever the 3000 series from Nvidia or AMD comes to be, and you will get good results with it. So keep that in mind if you're considering this build. The 10700 definitely can support a better graphics card. Next up is everyone's favorite game, and that is Fortnite. And on 1080p Pro settings, which is epic view distance, everything else on low, we got, well, over 200 plus FPS. This is an ideal configuration for basically high refresh rate, 240 Hz, 1080p gameplay. If you are playing games like Fortnite, Valorant, CSGO, any of those games that really demand really high frame rates, this will be a great configuration for that. Once again, you do start to see the bottlenecking of the 2060 Super, but it is not that severe. You could go up to something like a 2070 Super, or just wait for whatever 3000 series has to be from Nvidia, but I mean, this configuration is still very impressive. The 2060 Super is definitely a great value GPU, and that's kind of why we use it a lot in our PC builds here on the channel. And lastly, of course, we tested Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which on high settings we got over 60 FPS, which is all we can really ask for. We really want to use this benchmark to demonstrate how AAA titles run on PCs, and this shows that 1080p you have no problems whatsoever. You most certainly could play at 1440p with this PC, and I would highly suggest it. We love playing on 1440p monitors here at the Toasty Bros. Jackson and I run those on our setups, and honestly, 1440p high refresh rate is probably the best gaming experience you can have right now in terms of value and price performance. So I highly suggest considering that with this PC, but overall I'm very impressed with it, especially the Antec case. We did opt for a very interesting fan configuration. We really wanted to showcase all the RGB we could put in this thing. Ideally, you probably want to configure your fans a little bit differently than we did, but in terms of performance, I mean, this thing ran really cool. The Intel stock cooler, really awesome. Glad that they updated that to the all black design. If you do want to opt for something like an air cooler, I totally understand, you could do that, but in our opinion, with a locked i7 processor, really no reason to spend any extra money right now on a cooler unless you just really want an aesthetic upgrade. So, but if you do want to get a cooler replacement, we will definitely leave a link in the description down below for you to consider. So overall, very impressed with this PC build. How about we go ahead and bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick.
Okay guys, so as you can tell by the benchmarks, this PC not only stayed cool due to the thousands of fans in here, but it also got really good performance.
We were very impressed with this build overall. The i7-10700 is a pretty awesome CPU if you're considering going Team Blue instead of Team Red, and it pairs really well with the 2060 Super. Of course, you can go with a better graphics card, but I think this configuration actually works out very well, especially at the $1,200 price point. And this case from Antec, the DF600 FLUX, with its RGB fans, it's really awesome. You get a lot of good airflow going throughout this case to keep things nice and cool. You don't really have to add all the other extra RGB fans if you don't want to. It is a little bit loud with all the RGB fans plugged into the hub, so do keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, having all the RGB that you ever desire is pretty nice as well too.
So big thanks to Antec as always, and don't forget to check out the links in the description down below. They're affiliate links, so they do help us out. Don't also forget to check out our other 2 YouTube channels, which just hit 1,000 subscribers, and also our twitch.tv/toasterbros. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. So loud.
I know, I feel like my mic's